Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's study of the Srimad-bhagavatam. I'm here with Mara, spinning the dials, and, of course, Prabhuji, Kastuba Das. You know, when they play that, we play that song, Prabhuji. Can people hear that when they listen as an other? No. Oh, that's only for... It's only for Zoomers. You guys have to join us on Zoom. If you're out there just othering around, and there's others that are out there. I talked to another yesterday. Haven't seen her in like 5 years. And then she showed up once live, maybe for Sweet Baby Krishna. And I was like, Kim, what's your deal? She's like, I was like, we got to catch up. She's like, we don't have to catch up. I know everything about you. I know everything.
In Florida, but your mother.
I know where you're going. You're split up, you're heartbreaking, you Mara falling. She's like, you caught me off guard with the Mara thing. I could completely caught me off guard. She was in your teacher training. And then she knows that. Oh, really? You know what? Yeah. And you know who else was there? Cindy Lunsford was there. I did this one, like a 5-day class in Rhode Island. She was there. Lori Pag was there. Cindy Lunsford was there. Mara was there. It's crazy. Good morning, Kastuba.
Good morning, Raghunath. You got a big announcement today, I think, huh?
Got a big announcement, my friend. I worked so hard with Mallory to get this up, and I did it wrong. But, the dates?
24th.
Wisdom of the Sages retreat is happening at Super Soul Farm. It's up live right now. I just put the wrong date on. There's an extra day. It's what?
May 24th through 27th.
May 24th through 27th. On the website, it says the 26th. Want to go to it? There's limited space. Satchidananda Swami is going to be there the first day. We're going to have kirtan the whole time. Kastuba is going to be giving classes. I'm going to be doing my thing. Mara's going to be there, walking around, doing the Mara. Not saying much. Let's get Mara to talk.
Mara doesn't cook for these events anymore, though, does she? She used to.
No,
We don't have anyone else to
we don't have any. She might get thrown
She
in
may
that
be.
kitchen
She's
anyway.
back. Okay.
Maybe we'll get her in for one vegan meatball session.
We could do it.
Let's get her for vegan meatball day. Mara's going through a thing.
Oh, about the business?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, thinking
Maybe
about
dropping it?
Maybe we should know. She's thinking about stuff.
Okay.
Might get into products, healthy products.
Oh.
Yeah. Speaking of healthy products, I haven't been able to sleep lately. I've never liked this. And then guess what I don't take anymore? Guess what I do not take anymore, Kastuba?
I don't know, but let's try to get through this quick, whatever.
All right. I do not take my mom's nuts anymore. That was my old CBD oil, but I do take.
Oh,
I
come
do
on,
take
Robert. Is this some
samadhi.
shameless commercial that you're doing
It
and
is
that
a
I'm not getting
shameless
paid
commercial.
for?
You know what? I want to support a devotee friend. I take Samadhi _CBD.
Oh, that's the same company, right?
It is the same
They just
company.
changed their name.
Samadhi_CBD_oil. But I love these guys. And I tell you, I took it last night and I slept like a rock.
Okay, good for you, Raghunath. Good.
Yeah.
good.
Well, I want to thank those guys. They're cool. They're nice devotees and I like what they're doing.
All right.
Oh, and I feel well rested.
Okay, let's get into the nugget, Raghunath.
Okay, here's the
Please.
nugget. You know what?
Should I make some other announcements?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, announcements.
Yeah. There's an asana class for our Patreon members with Radha Dasi or Ariel Castillo at 10 a.m. today. And then we have Bhakti recovery group meetings. The men meet at noon and the women meet at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. All right. So
Want me to read it?
here's the okay. Yes, you read it.
All right. So we got a nugget today. Let me pull it up. Oh, this nugget, you know who this is coming from?
Simone Weil, perhaps.
Do you know who she is?
No,
Simone Weil.
she's not Dr. Wheel's wife.
I don't know who that is, but I don't think so.
The guy with the beard, the big beard.
She's Simone Weil was a French philosopher, mystic, and political activist. All right.
What qualifies someone to get the subtitle mystic? Like, what do
They're
you have
interested
to
in
do?
mysticism.
Well,
And
well,
apparently
I'm interested in mysticism.
then
Can I
you're
put that
mystic.
in my bio? Raghunath is a yoga teacher, father, part-time botanist, and mystic.
Well, let's look it up.
I mean, you can't go to some school and say I'm graduated in mysticism, because I've said that about botany once, and you were like, "No, you got to go to school for it. You can't just call yourself
Well,
a
he's
botanist."
a person who seeks by contemplation and self. It's one thing is like an occupation, right? Another is like an interest. Okay, so you don't need a degree to be interested in something.
All right,
a
so
person-
I'm interested in mysticism. I
A
think
person who seeks by contemplation and self-surrender to obtain unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who
Boom, I'm a
believes
mystic.
in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. I think all of our wisdom of the sages listeners are mystics.
But who dare put it in their bio?
Well, I don't think she put it there because she passed away in 1943.
Okay, well, maybe it will go
An
into my
interesting lady. And
Wikipedia page.
she had an interest in Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads and things like that.
Okay.
All right, so this is what she says, and seems to be derived from there. She says attachment. And this is about attachment, right? Because we're reading a lot about attachment.
Yeah.
With, poor Bart Maharaj became all attached to this cute, sweet little baby deer.
Mm-hmm.
Attachment is the great fabricator of illusions. Reality can be attained only by someone who is detached. Simone Weil.
She is a mystic. That was a very profound thing to say.
It was profound. What do you have to say about it?
Here's what I have
Attachment
to
is a
say.
fabricator of illusions.
Driving Tarun to school yesterday.
Yeah.
He was happy. He was listening to Radha Krishna Temple record. He was in sort of a little bit of bliss.
This is your son you're talking about. How
Yeah,
old is he?
my son, 9 years old. I
What
started
happened to
crying.
your camera? You shut us down?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
What happened to my camera? Weird.
Come on back.
I'm here.
Now we're just getting. That's your hand. That's your picture again. Now you're muted. Pull yourself together here, Raghunath. Unmute
I'm
yourself.
muted.
I didn't mute you.
Has someone hijacked the show and muted me and taken away my camera?
No, but your camera's not there. I can hear you. There you go. You were back for a second. Now you're muted again. Raghunath. There you go. Unmute yourself. There you go. You back? Say something.
There is a ghost in the machine. Okay.
All right.
That was very strange. Maybe it's the mystics are
So
doing
you
it.
were,
All right. So I was in the
you were
car
about
with my
to
son
share something.
and I was
old is he?
reflecting. He's 9.
How old is he? Okay.
He's 9. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And I started tearing up because I started thinking like, what is the return on investment in love? It's like, I've loved, I had older stepsons that I've loved that I don't see anymore. They just don't. And I really love them because I was thinking I love Tarun so much, but I invested love in these other boys and I don't see them anymore. And now my other kids are becoming teenagers, and I can just feel that, you're really needy when you're 9 years old. When you hit 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, sometimes as early as 12. And my older kids are a little attached, I feel like, to me, but they're still getting to that place where I'm less on their priority list. I less get the respond to my text message than the type of interaction I get with my 9-year-old. And it's like the material world just starts to take things away from you. And if you're attached, you feel that pain. And what I see it as, it's a refinement of love. It's a refinement of love. And you spoke about this in a very lucid way last week, which I still think about. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It just you said that there's this very big, broad, capital L love. When somebody brought up the question about like, if someone dies, will I love them in heaven or in the next life or something like that?
In the next life,
And you brought up this very big question about, we're learning how to love in a much broader way. And this can sound a little callous, and I do love my kids like crazy, but that attachment to love, like this kid is mine and they will always be mine. It's just something more about, it's like Maharaj Bhatt. He's got to be big. There's got to be a big love. Like, I love everything, and I'm willing to give love. I think like a good parent is always ready to give love to that kid to that 21-year-old kid who has turned away from the parent. The parent's still there and wants to give love. So as like beings of God, we are meant to love everyone. We are meant to love everyone impartially of our bodily relationship to them. Yeah. And we don't even own our own children, who we feel like, I should have some return on investment for all the love I've given. I've given so much damn love. I should be getting, I mean, if you think about the love you give a kid, I drove you to Boy Scouts. I sat in the car while you went to stupid Boy Scouts. Then you got back in, and then you went to ballet. I brought her to ballet, sat there during the whole dumb dance class. I didn't want to, I had things to do. I'm thinking about my mom, all the stuff she did for my family. It's not like she's sitting in the car with a cell phone either. There were no cell phones there. You just sat in the car and they just drove you around. You like a certain type of food, they bought you that food. What do you want for Christmas? Here's my Christmas list. They got you that. What kind of shoes do you Mom, you bought me the wrong pants. I don't hate those pants. I'll never wear those pants. You spent all the money on the kids' pants. It's like there's so much sacrifice. There's so much of outpouring of love. And if you're using that as the metric of love, like purchasing, waiting, stuff like that, the metric for the return on love is not there. You may get very little love in return after that you've given so much. So it's like, but if you understand, like, I'm just here to give love, and I'm not expecting a return on investment, because this idea of giving love without really doing it for the neediness of, I need love back. I give so much to you. Why don't you call me? It's Sunday. You should call your mother every Sunday. If I'm expecting so much in return, it's not love. It's love with a caveat. It's love with the fine print.
It's not really love, you're saying.
It's not love in the highest way, which we're trying to push we're trying to push our small L love to a high L love. And this is what I think this whole chapter is about.
Okay. I read some quote, and I could go back and find it. I don't have it handy right here, but I got it out of that book, that Leo Tolstoy book, that Calendar of Wisdom. Remember, I've drawn from that in the past.
Yeah, that's great. Leo Tolstoy is a reservoir of great quotes.
But that book is like, I think it's a book of his favorite quotes, and maybe some of his blended into it too.
Oh, I didn't know
But
that.
there's one quote in there, and forgive me for not being able to like accurately reproduce it. But
You're forgiven, my son.
thank you. Thank you. But more or less the message in there is that, like, love means, like, when we think of love, anyway, the quote had to do with this. It had to do with like loving what's the same in everyone. In other words, like, commonly, like, when we think of love, we think of, why do you love that person? Because they're different than everybody else.
Yeah.
But there's something special about them, and that's why I love them. And most fundamentally, that's my son, my daughter, But what this quote was saying was that like real love means loving what's the same about everybody. Right. And that means when we get there, then we're actually talking about that's removed all the attachment from like, I'm attached to this particular person. Your camera went out again. I don't know why. But, we're thinking when we're trying to focus on what's the same. In other words, I'm loving that pure spirit that is within every living being, which is fully, worthy of our entire love, then we're beginning to love on that capital L love, right? And it's until we get to that point, our attachments rule us. Like that very question, and I don't mean to say that question isn't a valid question, a very natural question. Like, when I die, will I be reunited with my loved ones? But and I remember I gave an analogy there. It's like if you're in jail and there's only one thing that gives you any pleasure in that jail, like every day you get a little jello on your steel plate, right? Like, it's like, you're like, this is the only enjoyable thing. Everything else is misery here. But I get this little bit of enjoyment. And then you're offered the opportunity to leave the jail, and you're like, but will I have jello?
Right.
It's like,
dude,
when you get out of this jail, there's plenty of jello, but there's like a lot better stuff out there than that. So we have these
great analogy, by the way.
You like that one, right?
Jello, I'm stealing that. Yeah, Henry likes it.
Take it and run with it, right? And so, quick, put it in your book before they publish it. But that idea that like the things that seem so significant and important to us from another angle, from a more realized angle, they'll seem the way that they're important to us now will not be the same. It doesn't mean that we love less. It means that we love more. Right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But this here, what she's
on a side note, have you ever been to jail?
Yeah, I've done a little time in jail.
What?
You know about that? You know, in Houston, you were there when I was in jail in Houston.
Oh, that.
But
that,
even
yeah,
before
yeah.
I was a devotee, I did a night in the Nick.
Now I wish I went to jail for a day.
You never been to jail?
I've never been to jail. I don't want to go.
Even for a moment? Even like for like a couple hours?
Even for a moment, I didn't go to jail.
So well
one moment, get in there. Now get out of here. Thank you.
No, I did a night in the Tombs,
Where's the Tombs?
Oh, Raghunath, naive, innocent Raghunath. You don't know where the Tombs are downtown? Down like a Court Street?
Oh, really? What'd you do?
You don't know the Tombs?
What'd you do? Who am I with?
Essentially, we're getting into this. Essentially, it had to do with drugs, but it was really mouthing off to the cop that got me in trouble, and then they threw me and my friend Andre, who ended up in the president of the
Satanists, right?
Church of Satan. But let's not get derailed.
What a squirrel we got going here!
You got a major
jail with night in jail with the leader of the satanic.
With my best friend, who went on to become the head of the New York chapter of the Church of Satan. But in any case,
oh man, that should be the title of your book.
But here's the point. Let's focus on what you're saying. Attachment is the great fabricator of illusions. Reality can be attained only by someone who is detached. If we want reality, we have to be detached. And a lot of times you and I go to like the idea of like sometimes someone falls in love with someone, right? And everybody else can see that this person is trouble, right? This person's going to take advantage of you.
The person they're falling in love with.
This person,
it's trouble.
But the person,
like everyone sees it, but they don't see it
because they're attached, right? Like they're hearing the words that they always wanted to hear from, like the face that they always wanted to hear. In other words, the things that their mind has been attached to since they were young. What they're anticipating. I wanted that person that looked just like this to speak these words to me, and they're speaking those words.
Or sometimes the person doesn't even speak those words, but they will. I just have to work on them. It's in there. They can be the guy I want them to be.
So whatever picture they had in their mind of enjoyment, they're seeing it in this form, and the attachment is there, and they're blind to the truth. Sure. And really, like, this is the way that these yogis are saying that we're moving through this world. We have attachments, things that we wanted to enjoy, but fundamentally, fundamentally what we're trying to enjoy is like the role of the root of all existence, or the role of God, right? We want to be the center of it, the center of the equation. We want to be that person that's adored. Like Krishna is adored unlimitedly. Krishna can support unlimitedly. Krishna has these opulences of beauty and wealth and fame and knowledge, and he's just got it all. And rather than loving that root, we're wondering, what is it like to be that? And if you want that, the only way that we can experience that is in illusion. So then we're given illusion. If that's what you want, you can have illusion. You can try to enjoy that illusion. But so our attachments generate our illusion. And if we actually want truth, which is where we're, truth is what sets you free, right?
Sure.
The truth is what sets you free, right? So if we want freedom, we have to become detached with the conviction there's something better than this jello that I'm getting in this prison cell, beyond this, right?
Sounds
The
like
things that seem so significant to me now, I'll see them in a whole different way when I break free.
Jello by Afra.
They didn't give me jello in there, by the way.
What did they give you? Did you eat in jail?
I don't think I ate. I think I was a vegetarian at that point already.
You're like, I'm gonna fast.
They give you a bologna sandwich is what they give you in there,
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's terrible. All right. Let's move
All right. Well, thanks for that. I want a little more detail when we're off camera.
I could tell you some stories about that day in jail.
That day in jail? Is it a long day and night?
It was the exact same amount as every other day and night. What are you talking about?
I mean, did you? Well, no, could have been a long day.
I see what you mean. No, I don't. I suppose it was.
Did you meet any other?
I wasn't in the
visitors?
cell with my friend. I was in the cell with another guy, but we were like right next to each other.
Were you,
This guy was a character that I was in the cell with.
like a problem character?
Not for me.
Okay. He didn't try to like
No, he
friends with
managed
you?
to smuggle some drugs into the cell.
into the drug? Into this?
Yeah, they didn't find it on him.
Wow.
Anyway, a whole nother
Anyway,
story.
that was back in the day when you couldn't mouth off to the cops. They could, like, say anything to the cops.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
No. Yes. Thank you for that.
Let's have a purifying mantra right now.
Thank you for that beautiful little. That was a squirrel and a half. That was like a possum. It's like a possum.
Hit it right.
Ryanam namaskrityanam chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad-bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki, by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated in loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuran Madatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Miss Mara?
Reading from Canto 5, Chapter 8, Text 15.
Others.
You ready? Bart Maharaj, he's become lost now, Raghunath.
He's totally in love with this deer.
He's attached to it because it's furry and cute.
Well, you know what? I gave a class on reincarnation once, and just, basically going over the basics about yoga and reincarnation. And some guy came to the class so broken because he had lost his dog.
Oh.
It was all about, how can I reconnect with my dog?
He wanted to reconnect.
He wanted to reconnect with his dog. He missed his dog. He loved his dog. I've never experienced this much love and loss. And, from a child maybe, but from an adult, it was really like heartbreaking. And like you said, it's like when you don't understand the concept of a detached love in this world. It could send you in the highs and lows of material existence, and they go very high and very low. Love is very high. Ever like, well, you never did this because you've been married, and I don't think you've had millions of girlfriends, but it's like if you really love someone, people who get love and then they split up from somebody, then you actually, the same person that you loved so much, like no one gets you as angry as that person. You know what I mean? It's like, why is it that person only that you've like, oh,
Because your attachments,
right?
Because you're so attached, you're vulnerable.
Because you love them so, you've given them everything, you've given them every amount of vulnerability, you've shared everything with, you've loved them more so hard that now they have the ability to cause you more pain than anybody can.
This kind of goes to what the language that you're using earlier. It was interesting, but you're like, what return do I get on my investment of love?
Right.
But really, when we're talking about real love, it means it's not like that. It's not meant to get a return. Love means I love you. I'll give you everything. And that's what
you're not an investor or a merchant.
You're not an investor waiting, and so that's why what we call this lowercase love, or I don't know if we can even call it love, but this attachment. It's because I want something from you, and I want it so bad, and then you deny it, and now I hate you. Right? It's like you're the one person that you can give me everything I want, and you're not, and I'm so deserving of it. Yeah. And so, anyway, Bart Maharaj is going to feel some separation from the deer. The deer is going to wander off. He's going to get lost. He's going to suffer.
He's acting like this guy with the dog, and I get it. And I felt so bad because I was like, by the way, I was like, sort of like, well, I was so like, in retrospect,
you were cold.
And sometimes devotees can do this too, because we get trained in wisdom, but it hasn't really sunken out in how to deliver it to people. And I was just like, he's like, well, when can I reunite with this dog? I was like,
never.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, he's not a dog. He's who knows what he is anymore. He's not a dog anymore. You don't own that dog. He was never yours.
You just dropped in a little satyam there, a little truth.
Yeah, but
you did it
I did it in a not delicate way.
Maybe that's what the person needed. Sometimes that's what they need.
Maybe. And if you read the Bhagavad Gita, sometimes or any of these wisdom literature, sometimes they come off a little cold, a little callous, a little heavy, and I can't hear them. I even get angry. Ever do this one? Get angry at the Bhagavatam, angry at the Bhagavad Gita, angry at the teachers of truth. And you're like, yeah, whatever. And then 10 years later, 5 years later, a year later, you're like, you were right, Bhagavatam. You were right.
You were right, Bhagavatam.
It was the same thing. You know what really got me in the Bhagavad Gita? There was that verse. It used to get me so angry. It used to be like, what is it? For the self-realized soul, the self-realized soul does not lament.
Oh yeah, and then yeah.
For the living nor the dead. For the living nor the dead. I was like, you don't lament for the dead? What kind of robot, stone-hearted person are you, self-realized souls?
Well, that's the interesting thing. When you compare Bhakti, you see, Bhakti is saying, don't love your dog less, but love every living being the way you love your dog. That's our takeaway for today. Love every living being the way you love your dog. Right.
Kostub is just nailing the takeaways today. But Mara's like knitting them very quickly.
But you see, because there's two general schools of Vedanta, right? Students and practitioners of these ancient texts like Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and so on. There's two basic schools of Vedanta. One is the Bhakti school, and one is the school of Advaita Vedanta, right? So you have Bhakti Vedanta, you have Advaita Vedanta. And Advaita Vedanta, the idea is that we are all of these relationships are just an illusion, because in the end, there's only one divine existence, one divine light. And when you realize that you are that light, then all these relationships are done. So that means that everything that you're investing into these relationships is within the realm of illusion, and you have to wake up from it. And the way that to gain that realization, generally what's taught is kind of like a stoicism, like kind of like a bit of a cold-hearted detachment from the world, right? I've pulled something up here, Raghunath, okay?
Sure.
This is from a poem by Shankara, who was like the founder of this philosophy, right? Really like the main broadcaster of it. Incredibly important figure in the history of Hinduism and the history of Vedanta, right? But this is his poem called Five Stanzas on the Loin Cloth, right? Meaning the person that wears the loincloth. It's about the renunciate.
Okay.
It's a poem about the mentality of the renunciate. Okay, not about the cloth itself. Really, kopin is what is the word. Five stanzas on the kopin, but five stanzas on the loincloth. So it's about people who wander off and live in the caves and sleep on the banks of the rivers and so on like that. So I'm just reading a little bit of this, but he says, witnessing the changes of mind and body, seeing himself as the changeless witness, heedless to the changing phases of the world. That's an important line right there, and we'll get back to that, okay?
Say it again. Heedless?
Heedless to the changing phases of the world. Like, in other words, I'm the changeless witness. My body's changing, the mind changes, the world around me changes. My dog is alive one day and it's dead the next. Heedless to all that, right? Chanting the glories of Brahman, of that one divine, all-pervasive spiritual energy. Always contemplating only on I am spirit. Right? I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, these relationships, all this is always contemplating only on I am spirit, aham brahmasmi. Living on alms and wandering freely, blessed indeed the wearer of the loincloth. Okay? So what's being taught here is this: see yourself as, there's truth in this, no question. But the bhakti path is providing another way of approaching that truth. But seeing oneself as the changeless witness, heedless to the changing phases of the world. Heedless, and that heedless, the way that I really understand that is meaning like you're becoming indifferent to it. I'm becoming indifferent to the changing phases of the world, right? People are being born, people are dying. Yeah, that's the way this works. I'm no longer going to be moved by it. I'm going to become, in a sense, cold to it, right? Whereas on the bhakti path, it's saying, no, the relationship's part of reality. Relationships is reality, but it's just that your vision of them has been clouded by your attachments, right? And so your love is becoming focused on, in just certain pockets, and it's based on things that are untrue. Like, he fell in love with the deer, right? There's deers wandering all around that forest. He's not falling in love with every one of them, and he's not falling in love with the porcupines, and he's not falling in love with, it was specific. It was giving something back to him in its cuteness and its furriness that made him feel a particular way. And that's why his love became focused. So he wasn't heedless to as a matter of fact, we're going to see he's not indifferent to it. He's going to become controlled by it, right?
Yeah. I'm going to reflect it back to the parenting love. It's not like these kids are sent to us just to put us in illusion. They're giving us what we need to start to evoke these sentiments for source. But and part of its responsibility, part of it's showing up, part of it's duty, and that's what kids are extra. It's so and I think biologically they'll say that well, the kids are charming and beautiful because there's something inherent in a parent that wants to take care of a cuddly child, and that's why nature designed them to be cuddly and cute. That, but not just for that, just to continue the species, but for bringing out these sentiments in us, which might be dormant in a single man, or a single lady. And then we cultivate these, but we're supposed to let go of it on that very pedestrian level and bring it to higher stages.
Right. So like we've used this formula before, right? Like in terms of like a romantic relationship. In the illusory romantic relationship, two living beings are looking at each other and saying, from you, I'm going to get what I need to be happy.
Right.
Right. They may not say it in those words, but that's the
Right.
basis.
You know,
of
you're at a
the
coffee
relationship.
shop, you're on your computer, you're looking across. There's another girl on her
That
coffee
person could
on
fulfill
her
my
computer.
life.
That person looks like they could
the
fulfill
one.
all my desires.
They're the one.
Yeah.
And so we see that as an illusory.
I don't do that,
formula.
by the way. Sometimes out there.
Look
It's
at
like
over
last time I let you go to a coffee shop.
there. and then, but what we understand is like the how that same relationship. You see now, from the Advaita Vedantic point of view, the advice would be walk away from that relationship. It's illusory. Just leave it behind. You don't need that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the realm of bhakti, the idea is you too can have that relationship and even have the deepest affection in that relationship. But the idea is you're not looking at each other to fulfill your attachments, but the two of you are holding hands and walking towards the divine, right? So the emotions that I feel for this person, I don't have to kill them. I don't have to snuff them out. But I just need to learn to expand those kind of feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what it seems like should be natural, like what I'm going through with my kids as they're getting older now into late teens, is part of me says, okay, you don't want to love me back as much as I'm doing some hard love to you. You don't want to love me back? Then I'm over it. I'm going to be so detached and so cold. That's not the answer either.
Right.
The answer is still love, but just without that neediness. It's very delicate, Kastuba.
Yeah, very delicate.
It's very delicate lessons
You're a
I'm
very delicate
getting
man,
right now.
Raghunath. You're very delicate.
I'm a very delicate man. But it's really refined teachings I'm getting from it all, because it's really easy to pendulum swing to being cold. And I'm just going to harden my heart here. We're not asking people to do that in the Bhakti tradition. It's just the opposite. We're not asking you to become hard. When you hear about tapasvis, people who practice yogic tapas, it's a type of hardness. I'm going to take that cold shower. I'm going to fast. I'm going to, relinquish all relationships. It's not that. There is relationships. There is love, and it's big love.
Actually, what we're hearing about, and I think in the commentary to this text, if I'm correct, Prabhupada's going to talk about what he calls transferring affection. In other words, because like we're meant to be connected to that root of all existence with affection. And if we pull that off, if we return to that, if we get back to that, we'll feel affection for every other living being that's connected to that root. But what we do is we take that affection, we transfer it onto one being, and then we become disconnected in a way from every other living being. So let's read this verse 15, and then let's read the commentary.
Text 15, if Bharat Maharaj sometimes could not see the deer, his mind would become very agitated.
See the attachment right there, right?
Right. Once you get a little kid, you're worried about, where's my child? Where's my child? You're at a park or something. He would become like a miser who, having obtained some riches, had lost them and had then become very unhappy. Where the deer was gone, he would, why can't I read? When the deer was gone, he would be filled with anxiety and would lament due to separation. Thus, he would become illusioned and speak as follows. Okay. Bharat Maharaj would think, alas, the deer is now helpless.
Hold it. Commentary.
Lordy.
Yeah.
Commentary of text 15. If a poor man loses some money or some gold, he at once becomes very agitated. Similarly, the mind of Maharaj Bharat will become agitated when he did not see the deer. This is an example of how our attachment can be transferred. If our attachment is transferred to the Lord's service, we progress. Srila Rupa Goswami prayed to the Lord that he would be as naturally attracted to the Lord's service as young men and young women are naturally attracted to each other. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited such attachment to.
And that's, you see, this to me, this gets to what you were saying earlier. Is like even our own relationships can inform our devotion to God rather than being an obstacle to it, right? So like he's saying, oh yeah, just like I felt that, we might all say, I felt that feeling of being young and being in love, right?
Right.
and how it draws your mind to that object of your love. And here it's saying that even that experience can be valuable in helping you understand what it means to be deeply absorbed in another, you just need, it's just been transferred in the wrong way, transferred back to the root of all existence, and then you'll hit that stage of big love where you can actually love every living being and be free from the kinds of suffering that Maharaj Bharat is going through here. But please continue.
Okay. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited such attachment to the Lord when he jumped into the ocean or cried at night in separation. However, if our attachment is diverted to material things instead of the Lord, we will fall down from the spiritual platform.
Yeah.
Slowly, the material world, so interesting, huh? Once you understand this, slowly the material world gets, we start to realize that everything is being pruned from our life. Every attachment we have.
Snip,
snap, snip. Snip, snap, snip. Everything is getting taken away. The things that we possess, the things that we love, our homes, our families, our vehicles, our body, our hair, our clear skin, we're getting wrinkles. Everything is slowly being pruned that we have, and it's to bring us only to higher places. If we have wisdom, it brings us to a higher place. Without wisdom, the world starts seeming incredibly cruel. Oh, these horrible kids. Oh, the horrible IRS. Oh, the horrible government.
oh, the horrible world.
Horrible winter. Oh, this, right? It's one horrible thing after another. One thing to blame after another. But if I just see, oh, actually, this is all meant for my evolution. This is for me to go deeper. Otherwise, all you have to do is analyze the material world. It's a cruel place. It's cruel if you see it with the lens of a materialist. If you see it with the lens of a spiritualist, then even when they're leaving their body, there's no hate, there's no resentment, there's no, oh, cruel world. It's just sort of like reaching out to light and love.
It's amazing how this bhakti path, it combines the detachment of Shankaracharya, but it engages it in a way that has a softness and a kindness and a beauty to it that's unique, right? So everything they're saying, like what you were just sharing, to me, it relates to what we're reading, what Shankaracharya was saying, right? Seeing oneself as the changeless witness, right? I am spirit. I don't change, but everything around me, right? Heedless to the changing phases of the world. In other words, somewhat indifferent to the change, like even the Bhakti Yogi in a sense becomes somewhat indifferent to the changes of the world. In one sense. In another sense, they may not be. But in one sense, they are they are indifferent. Like, I'm growing old. It's okay, right? It's wintertime. It's okay. Everything that you're just saying, right? Eventually, I'm going to grow old and die. That's also okay. I'm not going to be shaken.
I'm wrinkling. I'm wrinkling up.
That's okay. Right? That's okay. Because why? Because aham brahmasmi, because I am spirit, right? Because I'm beyond all that.
I mean, sometimes when people see their first wrinkles or their arm gets a little saggy on the tricep or some like belly flab or some wing,
freak out.
For men, like sometimes they get at a later age, doesn't happen at a younger age, but at a later age, hair on their chest starts to go till their wings on their back. They start getting like hair wings. It's like, where the hell did that come from? And it's just sort of like, what the hell are you doing to me, world? What's going on? Next thing you know, it's like, it's very easy to get frustrated with material existence. And they're just like, sometimes it's like devastating. When a guy starts to see their hair is receding, oh my God, they can lose their mind.
Fortunately, I was already shaving my head by that time, See, there
I
you
was
go,
too.
detachment, right? It saved you from all the suffering.
Yeah, I was too. And I had a good head for a bald head. I was shaving my head because I thought it looked cool.
All right. Okay. You ready to read the next verse?
Yes, I am. I'm waiting for my assistant to click me over. Bart Maharaj would think, alas, the deer is now helpless. I'm now very unfortunate. And my mind is like a cunning hunter, for it is always filled with the cheating propensities and cruelty. The deer has put its faith in me, just as a good man who has a natural interest in good behavior forgets his misbehavior of a cunning friend and puts his faith in him. Although I've proved faithless, will this deer return and place its faith in me?
I think he's saying, although I've proved to be unworthy of the deer's faith, will it come back to me? Right? Will it? Alas.
Alas, is it possible that I shall again see this animal protected by the Lord and fearless of tigers and other animals? Shall I again see him wandering in the garden and eating soft grass?
He's like,
right? You lost your dog. Ever lose your dog, Kastub? It's like, what? I do not know, but the deer might have been eaten by a wolf or a dog or by a boar. Boars are nasty too.
They can attack.
Yeah, they attack. They what's it called?
They start running at you.
Board you? What's that?
Gore.
Gore you? Bore you?
Gore.
They
Gore.
gore you. That's a word? Yeah. Gouge you, maybe.
They will run you over.
Yeah.
They run really fast. They don't look
They
like
run really fast, man. Boars are really fast. I saw one chase somebody. You know where they have boars? In Italy. There's boars in Italy.
They dig up the truffles. They get their nose.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They're good in permaculture for if you have to clear land.
You know so much about permaculture.
I'm a part-time botanist and a mystic. That's in my bio. You know what else? You know what else I want to use? Gentleman farmer. I'm a gentleman farmer. Ever heard that phrase?
Yeah, that's kind of like
a dandy. I'm a dandy.
No. I was gonna say artistic integrity. You're not artistic, and you got no integrity. You're not a farmer. You're not a gentleman, and you don't do any farming.
I'm a gentleman farmer. Oh,
okay. What's going on next?
I do not know, but the deer might have been eaten by a wolf or a dog, or by the boars that flock together, or the tiger who travels alone.
Now listen to this verse, Raghunath. I want you to listen to this verse and see if you can make a connection between this verse and the last chapter. Right.
Alas, when the sun rises, all auspicious things begin. Unfortunately, they have not begun for me. The sun god is the Vedas personified, but I am bereft of all Vedic principles. That sun god is now setting. Yet the poor animal who trusted in me since its mother died has not returned. So the last chapter ended with him worshiping the sun, seeing like Narayan in the sun, chanting the mantras to Narayan within the sun. And now he's looking at it from complete material vision, like the sun is setting on my heart, on my life.
He's in a pity party.
It's like, what happened?
Yeah, you used to see this. This is what he was meditating on when he saw the sun. The last verse of the last chapter.
You know, another great message here is you can fall into Maya in a moment. In a moment. It just took him
a few days, actually.
But but I meant for us, we can fall in Maya in a moment.
Oh, we're in Maya all the time.
But deep Maya.
We weren't
big Maya.
We weren't where he was. We weren't elevated we're not as elevated as he was when he was saying this, right? When he saw the sun come up at the end of the last chapter, was his meditation. He illuminates the entire universe and bestows all benediction upon his devotees. He's seeing Lord Vishnu within the sun. The Lord has created this universe from his own spiritual potency. According to his desire, the Lord has entered this universe as the super soul, and by virtue of his different potencies, he is maintaining all living entities, desiring material enjoyment. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the giver of intelligence. He was beyond illusion here. He was seeing beyond the facade, the veneer of this material world, and seeing the reality that's behind it. And now the sun comes up and he goes into this pity party. You know, it's in one sense, it sounds like it's all about his concern for the deer, but just, you know, it really has to do with, you know, it reminds me of this one thing where someone said to one disciple of Srila Prabhupada had said to him, like, "Oh, Prabhupada, I am the most fallen." Right?
Yeah, that's a great one.
And what did Prabhupada respond?
Because people say this all the time, like, I'm so fallen. Oh, you're not fallen. I'm fallen. Like in the material world, you say, I'm so good. And you say, oh, yeah, I'm the best. You know what I mean? But in the spiritual world, they'll say, I'm so fallen. Oh, Prabhu, you're not fallen. You're such a great devotee. I'm so fallen. Someone said it because
this person said, I'm the most fallen.
Right? I'm the most fallen, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. Meaning he was saying that humble statement, but in that humble statement, he was really like, I'm the best. I'm the most fallen.
It's all about, and so I kind of feel like that's here. Like he's saying, you know, he's saying, the sun god is the Vedas persona, but I am bereft of all Vedic principles. The sun god is now setting, yet this poor animal who trusted in me since his mother died has not returned. It's kind of like all about him, you know, it's like his.
Sure.
Okay.
And again, sharp wisdom comes in. Like we said, the sharp wisdom, the Bhagavad Gita, sometimes it's like, ow, Bhagavad Gita, I'm mad at you. But it's the same thing. Prabhupada said that not to be cruel, but to drop some sharp, heavy, wake-up wisdom on a person. You're not the most anything. It's to cut the ego. Guru sometimes cuts. The wisdom sometimes cuts. And what's it cutting? It's cutting our big, fat ego, which is like ruining our life. So we invite these people in our life to do that.
Wisdom cuts our big, fat ego.
Yeah, and sometimes we're not ready to hear it. And so we have to like turn our back.
Because our attachments are clouding our truth perception.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it's late. It's late. Era. Mara. Miss Mara.
All right. Takeaways. I got some good stuff today.
Do you?
Yep. Understand we are just here to love without caveats.
Okay.
Without caveats. Hi.
Our attachment to jello will be minuscule when we are self-realized.
We're attachment to jello from Scranton.
Love every living being the way you love your dog.
Big Love. Wasn't there a TV show called Big Love?
Yeah. I think it was like a polygamy.
Oh, it was a polygamy show.
Oh, really? That, I was going to say, that sounds like a band. We're Big Love from Piscataway.
They're sort of like a fish band, like a Grateful Dead fish, Big Love.
Let our children evoke loving sentiment for source.
Let them do it.
Teach your children well.
Every material attachment will be pruned.
Prune it.
The spiritualist sees everything for their evolution.
Yeah. Yes.
Transfer your attachment. Wait, hold on. That one doesn't make sense.
Can I give you some great news on the side? Danny Kazakowski is going to do one of her famous drawing things and blow it up. She does these Krishna.
Raghunath, you see, you throw these things in, like right in the middle of her. You see, it's like that's a total squirrel. That's that's great news, but it's like she's right in the middle of something.
Wisdom cuts.
Like,
sorry.
Do it at the end. Do it at the end.
Respect the squirrel. Make that a takeaway. Love the squirrel.
Wisdom cuts our big fat egos.
You just made that up.
That's a good one, Raghunath.
We just said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't make it up. Our wrinkles are okay.
Our wrinkles are okay.
And
respect the big fat squirrel.
There's something better than this jello.
There's something better than this jello, Raghunath.
Peter Lemon Jello. I'm Peter Lemon Jello.
Now tell us about Danny Kazakowski and what she's doing.
She's making a giant, she does those paintings. She's blowing up a gigantic, like, huge one, and we're going to do wallpaper in the cafe at the Yogi House.
Pretty groovy.
How cool is that?
Pretty groovy. What's it going to be of?
I think of Krishna and cowherd children.
Wow.
And a cow in Vrindavan. How cool is that?
Very cool.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, all you Zoomers. You can be a Zoomer, too, instead of being one of those others out there. Just kidding. We love you others. It's just like you're so mysterious, though. You're cloaked in a veil. If you want to join us live on Zoom, you can. Go to wisdomsages108@gmail.com and email Mara. She'll give you the secret codes to enter. And also check out our Wisdom of the Sages retreat at Super Soul Farm with special guest, His Holiness Sachidananda Swami. We're going to have some rockin' kirtan going. I think we're going to get a special kirtan guest as well. That is on our events page at wisdomofthesages.com. It's actually, I'm going to correct those dates for one more day. It's on the 27th. But that's May. That's a great way. And you know what? There may be some colors because it's sort of spring. It's not going to be a crazy color fest. But I might sprinkle some colors on Kastuba's head. Mayor, I'm going to give you a little yellow, Kastuba, a little blue on your cheeks. You're like, I'm not doing colors. I'm going to go, holy. Put some colors in this.